Hey guys, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a clay crab. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a clay board, and you can get two if you'd like, one for building and one for wedging and rolling. Please also get a skewer, a knifey tool that has a blunt or rounded end, and a cup of gross slippy water in a yogurt cup. You're also going to want to put placemat paper down on your table, and that is located under the black arrow, and that's just going to keep your space a little bit cleaner. Now, when I go to get my clay, the first thing I need to do is wedge it, because I'm going to take it right out of the barrel. So I'm not going to have my water on the table when I do this, because I'm going to knock it over. So I'm just going to move that aside while I wedge. So wedging is just the process of banging and rotating your clay to compress it and get rid of all the air pockets. So once you have done that, then you are going to roll a piece of clay that is a little bit smaller than a tennis ball. So for you guys with your little hands, this would probably be about the size of your palm, but I have big hands, so it's gonna be smaller than my palm. So I want you to roll a ball shape, and then you're going to flatten it and sort of pancake it a little. Now right now, it's about as thick as a nice meaty cookie, and it also is perfectly round. But if we look at the type of crab that we're making, their shell is not perfectly round. So what you're going to do is sort of squeeze it together on the ends with your fingers to sort of get like almost like a lemon shape. That way it's a little bit more accurate. And then you can also sort of pinch it a little bit on the edges to make it a little skinnier in the edges but thicker in the middle. We definitely don't want this to be too skinny though, because if it's too skinny, it's a lot more likely to break. So now we have our shell. The next thing that we want to do is we are going to be making legs. Now, crabs have 4 legs on each side, so 8 legs, and then 2 claws. So we're going to actually make 10 coils. 2 of them are going to be really thick, and the other ones are going to be pretty skinny. So when you make a coil, so you want to make sure you have your clay wedged, and then you are going to squeeze and sort of roll like a pickle shape, and then you're going to start rolling your coils. You don't want them to be any skinnier than your pinky, because they will definitely break, but if you look at your reference photo, you'll see that some of the legs are thicker and some are a little bit thinner. So you want to also kind of look at this and see, based on which leg, how long some of them will be. So obviously this would be ridiculously long for a leg. So you can kind of cut that coil a little bit smaller and maybe just use this for one part, and then you can shape this a little more and use this for your next leg. So you can kind of check your sizes occasionally to get it to be just the way you want. So you would roll all 10 of those coils. Let's see how quickly I can do this. Okay, and when I'm rolling, I'm starting in the center and sort of working my way out. Another thing that I can do is, once I get them the size that I like on one side, is I can actually just make sort of a twin to it. All right, so now I'm going to make, so I made this one and this one on both sides. Now I'm going to make my third leg. And when I make my back ones, which are sort of short, those are going to be a little bit thicker. Let's see, so make sure this is about equal. Okay. So that's going to be this leg. Put that aside. Now right now I'm just kind of really quickly making these little coils. Once you attach them, you can definitely add a little more detail to them. If you want to draw little joints or things like that, you can do that as well. So again, little pickle shape. And I am rolling this out. So these are going to be my back legs. Okay. And I'll probably cut these a little shorter, just because when I look at my picture, they're a little shorter. Now my claws are going to be my big ones. Now, this is not something that we're going to be finishing in one class period. So let's say you make all your legs and your shell, but you haven't attached them yet, and then I say it's time to clean up. Don't freak out, because I will just wrap them in damp paper towels. I will put them in our class box, and you can work on it next time. So again, those big meaty claws should be thicker on the end. You can kind of squeeze, and then you can make the bottom part a little bit skinnier, like that. And I'm going to chop a little bit off. Now you want to leave a little bit extra length so that you can attach them, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So I'm going to get my last big meaty claw made, and then I'm going to show you how to attach them. Now, when we are making our crabs, we are going to have them laying down sort of flat with their legs just sort of arranged out. We're not going to have them upright walking, because I found that with 2 different examples that I made, when I did that, once they dried, they were extremely delicate, and actually I was losing legs left and right. So I would say right now, for this kind of beginner project, we're going to just keep them flat. That way they're nice and stable and they don't break. So now I have some claws. Now it's time to attach. So I'm going to flip him over. The round side should be more toward the bottom and the straight sort of at the top. And I am going to start with his claws. Now, anytime I attach pieces of clay, I need to slip and score. So scoring is sort of like Velcro. It's like creating Velcro on both sides of the clay that you're attaching, 2 rough sides together. And then slip is when you are taking that muddy water that we had before that I put aside, and you are attaching it. Now I have extra space here, so I'm going to kind of press this on. So that's why I left that extra clay on there. And I'm going to press it on, attach it, but I'm also going to blend. Now, if there's a lot of extra clay later, I can always scrape a little bit of this off. But for now, I just want to make sure that those are really on there. Then I am going to attach all of my legs doing the slip and score method. So I'm going to actually, just to make things faster, I'm going to score this whole underside. That way I only have to do the legs, because I know that that's going to be all attached. So slip, score, blend, and slip, score, blend. And I can always kind of arrange these legs and refine them and pinch them later. But for now, I just want to get them attached. And try to keep this from being the world's longest video. Now, when we are done with these, we are going to be adding color to them. We may be doing glaze, we may be doing paint, depending on time, but you can think about if you want to make this a red crab or blue crab, or you want to combine colors, or you want to make it some kind of funky colors. That is totally up to you. Let's see, I'm going to add this on here and blend, and add that on and blend. Oh, this is getting thick. I'm going to scoop a little bit of this off. And then my last 2 legs, I'm going to slip, score, and blend. Now I'm working really, really fast on these. You know, you're going to be able to take your time a little more. So I'm going to very gently flip him over and I'm going to arrange my legs in a way that I want. And I'm going to do a little bit of refining. So then you would take some water, smooth it out. Just don't dump water on it. You don't want it to be like a crab made of mud that's going to fall apart. You can get rid of these little cracks. Just make sure that when you're blending, you're not like going like that and making it stick to the table, because then it's going to fall apart and be super skinny. So we don't want to do that. Oh, that poor leg. He lost part of his leg. And then the last thing that you want to do, or actually second to last thing, is we're going to make the claws come apart so that they're meaty and they can they can get people. You can also add some detail if you want by drawing some lines. You can get a texturizer and add a little bit of texture around the edge of the shell if you want to. I actually don't care for that. Hold on, this looks a little nicer. Let's push this in. You can do that. And then the last thing we want to do is our crab's eyes. So the crab's eyes, we're going to have them just be like a little coil. We're going to break it in half. So we're using the word coil a lot in this project. Coil is like a long, skinny piece of clay, and it's a really great thing to know how to make when you're doing hand-built ceramics, because you can make lots of things with coils. Okay, so I slip, score, blend. Okay, and then using that blunt tool to help me blend is great for getting it to be secure. And then my finger dipped in water is great for smoothing, for craftsmanship. And then I can also take sort of the back side of my skewer and make a little thing like that. And now we have our crab. Now, once you are completely finished and you're ready for it to dry out, make sure you give it to me, and either I check that you have put your name on the back, or you have put your name and class code on yourself.